This is a revisit to some cards that keep coming out. I sat down today as I was having a situation, and the situation is some conflict that I'm going through. And I don't know whether it's internal or spurred on by some catalyst from outside. So I pulled 3 cards, and I've put these together like this so that you can see how they came out as I did them. I pulled 3 cards, and the first 3 cards were to get some insight on what was going on with this situation. And here's what I got. The first card I got, this is the situation, the Queen of Pentacles, and then I got the 5 of Swords, and the 10 of Pentacles that came out together. I'd asked for 3 cards for the situation and advice. The situation was described as the Queen of Pentacles, 5 of Swords, and 10 of Pentacles. So let's look at that. The Queen of Pentacles, the situation is one of being in conflict that I don't know whether is internal or external. Again, I feel as though most of the conflict is coming from external, but I also feel that some of it might be things that are being triggered within me based on the situation and its words that people use. It's the way that people speak to me, and it's the way that people write to me. And so this was, I think, a little bit enlightening. Since those cards keep coming back, I have to pay attention to them. The Queen of Pentacles is a self-made person. She is strong. She is strong with family and community. Is a person with a kind heart, and is very grounded and is generous. Is also a healer and has great wealth and abundance. And honestly, that really describes a position that I find myself in some ways, and one of the parties that is also in the conversation has some of those attributes. So I don't know what this is, but I think that the message here is being connected on a deep level. And I'm not sure what the lack is that is holding me back from that. But that is what it feels like. The situation itself, looking at the 5 of Swords and the 10 of Pentacles, which keep coming out together, the 5 of Swords is really a card of possibly being outsmarted or outjousted. It's the feeling of possibly losing an argument or something like that, and you feel hurt because you feel like you've been misjudged. And there is built into it a lack of confidence. And I completely relate to that. So why is the 10 of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles sitting there with this confused and hurt individual between them? That is the question. Because the 10 of Pentacles is, I think I'll go a little bit more into the 5 of Swords, because it talks about potentially having an obsessive desire to win at all costs. That is not how I feel. So I think that is the other party's desire. The person that is in conflict with me, that is how I feel. It's like I will do anything to win this argument. I will, back off on nothing. And that really, that puts the person on the other end of it in the situation where nothing that you say has weight or power. And it can feel very much like being a victim. That is the part that I struggle with the most, because I do not consider myself a victim. And I don't agree with a lot of the assessments that have been laid that make me out to be something that I know I am not. And the constant picking away at the confidence that the words that the person has used in the communications that have gone on have really been damaging. And I think the reason that they are so damaging is because they speak so much to that part in me that still has those doubts, that old wound that hasn't been fully healed or reintegrated into me in some other way, of that it hasn't been fixed. And that may be the case for many people. And that does make the awkwardness of a situation where everything seems good, everything seems fine, yet there is still this thing lurking there. So what are the next 3 cards that I pulled? I asked for advice, and I got these cards. The card of the 4 of Swords, the card of Judgment, and the card of Justice. And as advice, I am not sure what to make of it, because what is justice? I know what I think justice is, and I think justice is the person stopping challenging me in the way that they're doing. And the feeling is that the whole situation is extremely unfair. And how do I get past that? That's a real question. How do you get, when you are in a situation where 2 people are at really diametrically opposed positions to one another, and there is no clear way to get any kind of agreement, and the person is in a position of power? They hold the trump card. So it's not as though, if you're in a situation like that, what do you do? What do you say? What do you do? Do you cut your losses? How does that work? How does justice happen? What is it that you can do? So the advice, the 4 of Swords, is really resting, healing from burnout, and taking a holiday, and self-love. And it sounds all lovely, and how do you do that? You have to get rest. And sitting with someone's words going through your mind can make you more than a little bit crazy. It is the kind of thing that if you are very strong, you can resist that. However, some people who are empathic, and some people who have the ability to figure out that something is not right, something is not being said, that is something that is coloring the whole situation. How do you do that? How do you pull back and do that? Well, I think that the meditation is a good way to look at this. This is a time of meditating and working on not thinking about these things that are invasive thoughts that are coming from criticism from outside. It's going inside and really looking at those hurts and trying to allow them time to heal. That is, I think, something that is really difficult to do when you're working with deep wounds from your childhood. It might have been something that you felt, or something that happened when you were very young, like 4 years old. And yet it takes the time it takes to heal. And there is really not a way to rush that, I don't think. Consciously decide to slow down and process before sprinting ahead. meditation, journaling, energy healing, etc. And the hustle, which is life, can be tumultuous and demanding, and the only person who can really direct your own radical recovery is you. You tend to your wounds as you may be on the verge of burnout. And when you rest, things will shift. And the rejuvenating energy that comes from the meditative state of rest will help to renew your energy and help you heal. And I have been trying to do that in spite of having to meet the demands. There is a point at which I have to say no more. And I don't know what that point is. So the second card, Judgment, is talking about self-realization, a spiritual awakening, knowing your motives and your heart to be true. And it is the time when Spirit is unveiling. And I do feel that that is taking place, and it is such a hard and difficult process. And being able to hold one foot in the material world and all that it entails, and one foot in spirit, is really exhausting at times. So part of this is forgiving oneself. And I know that the ability to actually get through this is, and it really is an ordeal. And it's that kind of thing that it's not comfortable. So, being able to find the essence that is within you in a time when you're struggling with the things that are triggering, those things that are making you go into that process of healing, it's so very difficult. And I don't know how to make it less difficult. I wish I did. I wish I did. And that's what I'm kind of looking for when I'm going into these cards. And what is justice here? Justice is talking about karma. And karma is misunderstood. It doesn't mean retribution for something, but it just means the things that have happened that you have done in the past will come around in some ways, and there could be people that you have karmic attachments to. And if that's the situation here, that the individual is there in order to make you feel the things that you need to feel to get through the spiritual renewal, then that is the justice. It is not someone saying, I say that you are innocent, or I say that you're guilty. It is the justice that is had by working through the process and seeing what is real. And one of the things that I am noticing is that the situation is one where the judgments that are being thrown at me feel like they're all black or all white. There is no middle ground. Either something is, if it is not liked, it is all bad, and if it is liked, it's just basically ignored. And that is kind of, it's kind of a problem. And justice is something that I am really I'm heavily focused on the idea that things should be just in the world. And I think that's one of the reasons that it bothers me so much when people make judgments about people, and this is not referring to the judgment card, but just the judgments that we make about others that are so unfair because they're based in not knowing that person at all. And that is exactly how the situation feels. I think that is the way it feels whenever a person feels like a person that they respect or that they are dealing with on what they thought was a deep level. It really is disappointing to hear their opinion of you if it is if it is that way. And the temptation is to lay down and curl up in a ball and not really want to deal with it. So I asked for a final 3 cards because this is not really an answer to me. And so here's what I got. This is the advice for how to move forward. And I think that if I can work out what this means, it will be very it will be a very good thing. Really what it's telling me is that the transition is in progress, and there is a rite of passage that has to happen, and whatever that is, that may be what the struggle is about. This is also a personal journey, and it's something that I'm doing on my own. But at the same time, there could be others that could help me through it. And one of those things that could be helpful, it seems to me, is the people that are around me that are collaborating with me in my life. And so the 3 of Pentacles comes up, and sharing and listening and teamwork and manifesting things together. The irony of this is that I felt like I was with these kindred spirits before, and I still do. However, there is a situation that has made that untenable. It is uncomfortable, and it's not happening. So is this telling me that this is going to be happening again, that things are going to be okay, and that at some point someone in the group will say, this is good, you bring this value, rather than saying you're no good, which is really the message that I'm getting. I don't know what the answer is to that, but I can reflect on that. And then I get the 6 of Wands as the final one, which is really talking about success and inspiring others. And I don't know how that to get there. And that is the problem here. This is the problem with the cards, that it's not like it's do X and you get Y. It is contemplate this and think about this, and this is a possibility. And look at that. There's the World. That's the next card on the stack. So I'm going to leave that out there, because this tells me that this is all happening for a reason. And it is very interesting that the Knight of Wands is here at the bottom, because I'm in Aries, and the final 2 cards here are really the fire sign cards. And it's just, this has been a huge pause for a lot of people, and I think that the kind of work that we're doing is so complicated. It doesn't really necessarily have to be that way, but humans have made it more complicated than it needs to be sometimes. So I thought I would share this with you, because this is a personal thing to me, but it came up in my Gemini reading, and I have Gemini in Venus, and so it is appropriate for that as well. But this is just a little discussion, and I think this really is shadow work that has to be done. It's still in progress, and I know I've made some progress with it, but I have a way to go. But it looks like I might be getting closer to some kind of resolution of this that will give me an idea about where I want to go next. So this last card, really, the message is that I'm worthy of the success that this card indicates, and I am grateful that I am seen. And some people have a problem with their visibility and success, and sometimes it causes them problems. So this is twofold. This is like getting through this ordeal, and then finally getting back to where there's the collaboration, that you can have with people again, and it's a conscious collaboration, and it's intentional, and things are good again, and then the leadership starts to come out. And the Knight of Wands here is the underlying energy, along with the Ace of Swords, and the Nine of Swords, well, hello, that's really been the case. And these two cards are giving me encouragement, because there is part of it that can be done with logic and inspiration, and sometimes it is letting all of that stuff roll around in your mind until you hit that true aha moment. And then the inspiration that comes with the Knight of Wands and the sense of excitement that is not present in these other cards, because these are all asking for how do I deal with this? But this is encouraging. I am a creative individual, and so seeing this card here and seeing that it's in my Aries energy is encouraging. And then the World being that next card, I think that would come right after this card. And if this is the outcome, it's the cycle that is completed. Anyway, it's encouraging to think that once this current situation is solved, I'll be into a new cycle. And I think that they would put it this way, it's about damn time. So I will stop there. Yeah, that's my reflections on what's going on. And I'm hoping that it puts these two cards that I took out of the Gemini reading twice before deciding that they really wanted to be there. I did a long reading on that last night, and I don't think I'm going to use it because it just kind of went down the same road again. But I think this one is more meaningful. And if you enjoyed this, please click like. If you watch my readings and gather some perspective from them, please subscribe. And if you have your own thoughts about this, please comment. Thank you.